In a quiet village surrounded by green fields lived a kind-hearted girl named Meera. She was only 22 years old, but life had already taught her many struggles. Every morning, Meera woke up before sunrise while the village still slept. She quietly tied her hair and prepared for another long day. The first thing she did every day was clean the front yard of her tiny mud house. Even though she was poor, Meera always kept her home neat and peaceful. After cleaning, she walked to the village well to fetch water. The heavy water pots hurt her shoulders, but she never complained. Meera prepared breakfast for her grandmother. Her grandmother was old and weak, and Meera cared for her like a mother. The smell of fresh chutney and warm food filled the small kitchen. Before eating herself, Meera always served her grandmother first. Soon after breakfast, Meera walked toward the fields for work. The muddy roads and hot sun made every journey exhausting. She worked in the rice fields from morning till evening. Her hands became dirty with mud, but her heart remained pure. One day, dark clouds slowly covered the sky. Heavy rain began pouring across the village. Within hours, the beautiful green fields were destroyed. Farmers watched helplessly as their crops disappeared underwater. The entire village slowly fell into poverty. There was very little work left for people like Meera. Her grandmother became weaker each day from hunger and illness. Meera searched everywhere for work, but earned only a few coins. Every evening, she worried about how to feed her grandmother. One rainy evening, Meera walked into the small village market. She carefully counted the tiny coins in her hand. With all her money, she could only buy rice flour and one onion. That small packet of food was all they had for dinner. When she entered the house, her grandmother looked weak and tired. Meera quickly changed into dry clothes and lit the clay stove. The warm fire slowly brightened the dark kitchen. She mixed the rice batter carefully inside an old clay bowl. Then she cut the onion into tiny pieces for flavor. Soon, the dosa began cooking on the hot iron pan. The smell of fresh onion dosa filled the tiny house. For a moment, the warm food made the difficult life feel peaceful. Meera gently placed food onto her grandmother's plate. Her grandmother smiled lovingly at her. Only one dosa remained on the plate. That last dosa was meant for Meera. She had not eaten anything since morning. Her stomach growled loudly from hunger. Just then, someone knocked on the wooden door. Meera looked confused because nobody visited during storms. Slowly, she opened the door. Outside stood an old man wearing torn, wet clothes. Rainwater dripped from his tired face. His hands were trembling from hunger and cold. In a weak voice, he asked for food. Meera looked back at the last dosa silently. If she gave it away, she would sleep hungry. For a moment, she did not know what to do. Then she remembered her grandmother's words about kindness. Meera slowly picked up the last dosa. She wrapped it carefully inside a banana leaf. Then she placed it into the old man's hands. The old man looked shocked by her kindness. Tears slowly filled his eyes. He asked her softly, "What about your dinner?" Meera simply smiled gently. She told him, "You need it more than me." The old man thanked her with folded hands. He quietly disappeared into the rainy night. That night, Meera drank only water. Hunger made her feel weak and dizzy. Still, she never regretted helping the old man. Rain continued falling outside while she tried to sleep. The next morning, Meera woke up feeling very weak, but she still prepared to search for work again. Meera fresh up with warm cold water and went to search new job. As she walked through the village, she noticed a crowd near the temple. A rich landlord had arrived in a large jeep. Villagers gathered around him hoping for help. Meera quietly ignored the crowd and continued walking. Suddenly, someone called her name loudly. Meera turned around in surprise. Standing beside the jeep was the same old man from last night, but now he was dressed in clean, expensive clothes. The villagers looked shocked and confused. Then the village head revealed the truth. The old beggar was actually a wealthy landlord named Raghav Rao. He had secretly tested the kindness of the villagers. Many people had refused to help him during the storm, but only Meera shared her food. The landlord proudly praised Meera in front of everyone. The villagers lowered their heads in shame. Then the landlord offered Meera a large bag of money, but Meera politely refused the reward. Close-up of Meera, saying she helped only because he was hungry. Landlord smiling emotionally at Meera's pure heart. Meera requesting jobs for struggling villagers instead of riches. Emotional scene. Villagers looking surprised and touched by Meera's kindness. Landlord agreeing happily and shaking hands with villagers.
Construction beginning for small food processing unit near village. Villagers working happily together at new workplace. Farmers carrying healthy crops again after recovery. Bright, sunny village scene. Grandmother smiling proudly while watching Meera from doorstep. Meera cooking many dosas happily in improved kitchen. Warm family atmosphere. Children running and laughing through green village fields with Meera. Villagers respecting Meera warmly while passing by road.
Temple festival celebration in village after recovery. Colorful lights and happiness scene. Meera giving free food to poor children near temple. Emotional kindness scene. Sunset over peaceful village lake with birds flying. Cinematic emotional beauty. Meera sitting beside grandmother outside house during evening breeze. Close-up of grandmother blessing Meera lovingly. Emotional family moment. Rainy evening years later outside Meera's house. Nostalgic atmosphere. Meera preparing extra dosa on stove, remembering old hungry man. Steam rising from hot dosa while rain falls outside beautifully. Meera placing extra food near window for any hungry traveler.
Empty muddy road outside house during rainy night. Warm light glowing from Meera's house in dark rainy village. Narration-style scene showing villagers helping each other kindly. Small child sharing food with another hungry child in village, inspired by Meera. Meera smiling peacefully near window during rain. Hopeful ending atmosphere. Peaceful village at night with glowing homes. Final emotional scene. Meera standing in rain softly smiling while holding lantern. Moral of the story is, true kindness means helping others even when you have very little yourself. One small act of kindness can change many lives and always returns in unexpected ways.